again.
Welcome into today's video. I am joined with my great friend Dennis, who we go way back to the days of door-to-door sales, trying to figure out how to make our first $50 online, way back. And today I want to feature something cool. You guys already saw the title and the thumbnail, but something he did somewhat recently and does very consistently, which is influencer marketing for his Shopify stores. So I'm gonna let him kind of take it away with who he is, what he does. Maybe if you want to tell him a little bit about, I don't know, like, you know, our background and what we, you know, how we've been progressing with what we do, but how he's like found this really cool niche inside of e-commerce that he just like rinses and repeats, where he can spend $100 to make $400, right? And then he'll spend $1,000 to make $4,000, and just keep it going and really see some really cool results. So take it away.
Yeah. So I mean, just to go into it, I pretty much started like last year, like doing drop shipping, and like pretty much like we were doing everything just with Facebook ads, like scaling people at data and all that, and through that I was able to meet clients who already had, like, they were good at getting data because they were getting from influencers. So I had this one client who he did like a 45K day from spending like $300 or something crazy, and it was just like it was just like gold in like a pile of dirt pretty much. And he kind of introduced me to the whole idea and like to move forward with it. My first like actual success with influencer marketing, I was doing YouTube theme pages, like repost pages for a certain game, like a certain video game. And and pretty much like with that, I pretty much found a winning. I just tested it with one page, and it got like a 4 ROAS. So I basically booked out all the other like 10 biggest pages that there were in the niche, and I basically ran those like every single day for like 5 months straight. And
it kept working?
Yeah, it kept working because the audiences with YouTube, if you guys don't know, with YouTube, a lot of their viewership are from new people, not their current subscribers, depending on how the page is laid out. And so there was just so many new people were watching the videos. Like, I was just running it so much where the odds were in my favor, where like I was getting in so many viral videos that were getting like 1, 2, 3 million views like per day. It racked up like tens of millions of views on the ad, and you know, we ended up doing like over 300K with it, and then we did another like 300K with Facebook. So it kind of like worked hand in hand. Like, we had a winner with influencers, and then people would see the Facebook ads, and then they would buy it from there, just like vice versa. So and like that was really cool, you know, because it was just like super consistent. It wasn't like very high returns like with personal brand influencers, which is like what I'll get into now. I mean, pretty much like all I do is I would go and I would test out a product, and instead of like testing with Facebook where you spend like $50 to like $60 or whatever, I would go and spend like $2,000 or like $2,800 USD to test out a product. And
which is costly.
Yeah. Which in the beginning I failed with it, you know, and I lost like $3,000 on my first time doing it because I just didn't know what I was doing with like the types of products I was testing. I pretty much took a product I already knew was a winner with like meme pages like back in the summer, and I just kind of revamped it and then brought it to an influencer reality TV star in France, who she gets like 700K story views. I paid her $2,800 USD, and then about a week later she posted the ad, which is the day we agreed on it, and I did like 8.6K that first day.
So you paid 2,800, so almost 3,000 to make over 8,000 back.
Yeah, so it was like we made like 2,700 profit because our product cost was kind of low, and then I basically like. It's the same thing with even smaller influencers. Like, I have small influencers that I work with that like we just get consistent orders from them every single time we run, but it's not like super big. It's like the same thing. Like we pay a girl like $95, and we would make back like 400 USD like per time. And we found the more times that we were running and the more creative we got with the ads, the better it would do.
Okay.
Yeah.
To the same audience.
Yeah, same audience. Yeah, and we would just keep on getting orders. And it's the same thing with the bigger influencers. And the thing about the bigger influencer, they just have such a wide audience, is that you can just if the product works, you can consistently get a couple hundred orders per time you run the shout out. So it kind of brings that consistency. Like, obviously, like by a certain time it will die out, but that's just kind of the name of the game. And obviously you make a lot of money if it ends up dying out.
Yeah, well, no, every product, even digital products, have a shelf life, as we like to call it, even if you're selling a physical product online. so that shelf life still exists. And just to make sure you guys fully understand what it is he's doing, he's essentially going to people with big meme pages, viral YouTube videos on YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram, contacting them, paying them a pretty sizable upfront amount of money, which is somewhat risky, I guess, if you don't know what you're doing, which is why you had that big loss in the beginning. But he's posting a product on their page and getting their entire audience to see it. So someone who gets 1 million views on a YouTube video, he has his product being shouted out by that person in the beginning of the video, and your link is left down below. You get a lot of eyeballs. And now the cool thing is you're able to take all that data where you probably made money on the front end, where you spent 2.8K to make over 8 back. Well, that's great. You just made almost $3,000 profit. But now you go take that data to Facebook and you can go make another $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 profit or way more.
Yeah, you can.
Because you scale that lookalikes, retargeting. So
the retargeting is big too. Just because you're just like, the whole idea is just like for me, I've really never gotten like a big conversion rate. Like there's people who can boast like 10%, but more what I'm trying to go for is like consistency overall. Kind of like what my numbers are on the drop down of is like if I'll get a girl who gets like 1 million story views and then I get like a 3 to 6% visit rate, so between like 30 to 60,000 visitors, and then I'm converting like 1.7% of those people into initial customers before any retargeting, email marketing. Yeah. And then that way you can be profitable on the front end and then being able to make money using like text marketing, retargeting, and all that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize there are so many companies. I would say, I don't know the exact percentage, but probably 20, 30, 40% of all companies that exist, especially online, bigger companies are willing to lose money on the front end in order to acquire a customer. It's like ClickFunnels as an example. Some of you may or may not know the software that a lot of people use to build out funnels, websites, products, and whatever. But ClickFunnels is willing to pay, I believe Russell said, $170 for a free trial. Just for a new free trial member, because he knows the lifetime value of a customer. So, it's great to make money on the front end, and I think it's totally achievable to do that. It's not unrealistic to say, let's spend $2,800, make 8 back, and we have almost $3,000 in profit. That's before we do anything on the back end. You can make more profit on the back end than you can on the front end. Most people forget about the back end.
That's without doing any subscription services either.
Exactly.
Yeah. But like, what questions do you think you should ask to make it valuable for them?
Yeah, so one thing, because again, this is focused on him, his strategy. There was one day, you guys saw it in the title here, where he did over $27,000 in a single day. Yeah. Talk about that, the way that you found that product, how you led up with it, testing smaller pages to make sure it works, and how you actually did 27, because was that off one shout out or was that multiple?
It was 2 pages, it was 2 stores and then 3 pages.
Okay.
So the first store, which brought the majority, it was like the first day we were running shoutouts. We did like 21K USD. We spent 5K euro, which is like 5,500 USD. It was all it was makeup brushes.
There you go. We just gave you the product.
Yeah, it's really generic. And the reason why we do it is because it's really just because it widens out the audience, because like every single girl uses a makeup brush type thing. And so if you were to sell, just like something that's like really niche, it gets less buyers instead of you just sell something that's more generic that like people just buy because the influencer recommends it. Yeah. And so so we basically it was like we had to book them like a week and a half up front just because their schedules are kind of tight. So we we booked like 2 girls and 1 guy, and with the 2 girls for the total shout, we got like 1.6 million story views, which we do it all on Snapchat.
So this was strictly Snapchat.
Yeah, it's just,
they posted it. Yeah. Between all 3, you got 1.6 million views.
Yeah, and then we had like 112,000 visits, and then off that, our conversion rate was like 1.5, like on average. Like for the makeup brushes, it was like 1.4, and then for the other store, it was like 1.6. So kind of averaged out. But yeah, we pretty much did that, and we did like 27.6K within the first 24 hours of the story, being up, and then before they went down. And yeah, it was pretty crazy, just like waking up and like I fell asleep, and because like French time's like different, so I woke up to like
so these were all 3 of them were foreign influencers.
Yeah, they're all foreign. Yeah.
All from France. Or?
Yeah, all from France. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, so like the European market for you guys, when it comes to the whole the way that people see page posts versus stories and videos, like a person can be getting like 20,000 likes on an Instagram post, for example, but on their stories they could be getting 300,000 story views. So kind of my whole name of the game is like, we initially, when we tested out the makeup brushes, we went to someone But just a small, you know, they're getting like 50,000 views. We actually got the same conversion rate that we got on the big influencer. So we knew it was probably, you know, it wasn't going to be like super good because it was pretty low conversion rate, but at least be decent where we can make profit. So we just, you know, took the risk, and you know, we ended up just coming out and it ended up doing well. Kind of like breaking it down, like what happened on the back end of the structure of it, like a couple of things that you need in place before you go and do 10, 20K days. First, you need like a really good payment processor.
Yeah.
Because all that money was locked up. It was locked up, and I had to wait, you know, like over a week just to get like the one payout. And so that's the first thing, is like when you get, before you guys scale to like bigger numbers, I would say first understand that you need a good payment processor. I would say second, understand that like don't over like think like making like 20, 30K days, because if you think about like a car dealership can go and do a $30,000 day and they only sell like one car. And so it's kind of like the same idea where I focus on the amount that I'm spending, because I'm trying to make $1 profit per dollar I spend, and just obviously trying to scale that. So first I'll test out a product with like a $100 influencer just to see if it goes well. And then if it goes well, you know, we start scaling to $1,000, $2,000, you know, just because obviously like we have the money and the infrastructure to be able to do it. At the end of the day, it's just about like all e-commerce is being able to like, to have it be like successful and long lasting is like having like a good, just like a good process for everything, like having good shipping times. That's like a first thing, because when you're running with celebrities, you don't want to like have their audiences coming, them being mad, because that'll hurt your long-term like longevity.
Yeah, well, because the audience will get mad at the influencer, right? They're going to be the ones, all those people are going to comment on their posts and DM them, which now means that influencer is never going to want to work with you again, regardless of how much you pay, and it just doesn't make you look good. Because now, let's say they're friends, you know, typically if someone's a famous influencer, they know almost all the other famous influencers. So, you know, if like, you know, they talk, and like they're not going to want to ever run you as a shout out.
Yeah.
So break down real quick that 27,600, right? Is what we put.
Yeah.
What was the exact number? 27,600.
Yeah, 27.
So what was the exact ad spend between all three? Because that was all on Snapchat, right?
Yeah.
So what was the spend? What was, you know, I don't know if you remember the exact number. Yeah, I bet it was a big day. Your product cost, as well as kind of like obviously then what your net margin was.
So we spent 7,500 euros, which is like 8.6K. It depends on it changes every day, but it's like between 8,300 and 8,600. Okay. At the time, it was like 8,600. It was $8,600 ad spend in USD. And we did 27.6K USD in sales. And then after everything, the profit was like 13.6K. Because our product cost was just super low.
That's like a 50% margin.
Yeah.
It's like 48 or so 47.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. So that's huge. You know, there's going to be big days once you start with smaller influencers, work your way up. This is something I talked about on the channel so much like a year, 2-3 years ago, because this is something where I initially started making a lot of money with that. Like Dennis knows that I used to own Instagram influencer pages. He was my friend when I was building them. Yeah. When I had like 5,000 followers and then got to 50 and then 100 and then had 15 pages. So, you know, I understood the shout out game, and I started purchasing ad space for my e-commerce stores, and I took that data to Facebook. So that was my original like bread and butter strategy. And, you know, he's been able to really scale it. And I want you to touch on the consistency piece, because the reason I was really attracted to Facebook is if I do $27,000 today, I'm not going to do 0 tomorrow. I'm going to do 20, and then it's going to be 29, it's going to be 23. There's a range. And unless I'm like, you know, messing with a massive amount of ad sets and killing and launching new stuff, it's somewhat consistent. It's not as volatile. So talk about how you achieve consistency, you know, that fluctuation in your business, and you know, being able to have it a little bit more consistent.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just in my laptop all day just looking at influencers. That's like the real secret behind it. Like I'll be like in the car, I'm looking at influencer, I'm looking at analytics that people have sent me.
This is all fuzzy. I'm sorry about that, you guys. It's like zooming in and out.
So, I mean, if you're ever around me, if like you're a friend, like I'll have people like saying, "Oh, why are you always on your laptop?" You know, it seems like you're not getting anything done or whatever, and it's like, all I'm doing all day is that I focus on like finding really good influencers, and then I pay a VA like $6 an hour to contact all of them. And he can contact like 100 per hour. So it's like, yeah, so my whole thing is that I just try to, it's just sifting through dirt trying to find, you know, gold. Pretty much that's all that's like pretty much all I do all day. And then I also have a team member, which I'm basically training him to like be able to run the same process that I do. And at the end of the day, it's about sales. Like instead of me asking for their money, I'm basically trying to give them my money, and I have to find good deals where if I spend the money, I can get it back. So it's kind of like real estate in a way, where like you're spending your own money, so you have to look for a good deal that you're not going to get like screwed over on.
Yeah.
And really with the consistency, it's just a hustle. Like what I do, the helpful thing that I've found is using influencer agencies. So I'll go to an agency and I'll tell them, you know, what my budget is, and I'll just tell them like, you know, if they can send me a list of like a big list of influencers that they represent, I go through that list and I can talk to someone directly. And even at that point, you still have to find like good agencies, because in this space, there's never any set pricing. So there'll be one person who says they want $1,000 for 400,000 story views, but then there's other people who say they want $10,000 for 100,000 story views.
Yeah.
Just crazy. But
everything's negotiable, by the way.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Now, I would never reach out to an influencer, especially if you're a random e-commerce store, and be like, hey, we'll give you a percentage of sales.
Yeah.
You look like an idiot, and it's not going to work. So you have to make it worth their while.
Yeah. It also has to be worth, you know, and that's why it's just having a full pipeline all the time. You know, one thing that made it easier, I'll send him a screenshot to show, but I pretty much have a sheet where I lay out all the influencer Instagram names, their emails, their engagement rates, their price, their story views, and I have it laid all out. So all I do all day is when I find the deals, my VA contacts them, and then I get their analytics. And then I just lay it all out on the spreadsheet, and then I just go through all days, yes or no, and then if they're, you know, the ones that are yeses, depending if their price is good or not, either go back and negotiate, and then, or if it's just good on the spot, you know, we'll just buy it, and you know, just keep testing, because at the end of the day, our goal is to do, at least my goal is to do like $1 million profit by the end of the year. So which means, you know, I need to spend about $1 million. Which means in order to do that, you have to, it's not crazy either. If you were going to just running $100 shout outs, it's, you know, kind of crazy. Because
it's hard. There's no scalability.
Yeah, so that's why I go to bigger ones and try to get like a, you know, a 1-to-1 ratio with profit. Because if I can do that, we can go and spend $6,000 or $7,000 in a day. And that's kind of like where I'm trying to lead to now.
And I like that model where he's not trying to chase some crazy return, because with business, as long as you know, again, that LTV, like that lifetime value of your customer, and you know what number you can get, well, even if you're making 50 cents back in profit for every dollar you spend, go spend as much money as you can, because you're going to make money. So, you know, let's say he spends $1,000 to make $3,000 in revenue. He's got $1,000 in product cost. Boom, $1,000 profit. There's just 1-to-1. So you're looking for like a 3x.
Yeah, 3 ROAS is my goal.
3
ROAS. 4, and our product cost is so low because we push more volume so we can get good pricing. So that's kind of one thing. And the biggest thing I would say, because like before I got in influencer marketing, like, I mean, we already did like about like 3 million in sales with Facebook. And the thing that I learned about that, we would drive all this revenue, but we weren't upselling a lot. We weren't, you know, charging for shipping when we should have, type thing, and just like stuff that would increase our margins like crazy. And so that's one thing I did, is like when you're running these shoutouts, you want to try to maximize the traffic as much as possible. We brought our AOV from like 19 pounds to like 27 pounds.
It's a big jump. It's like 30%. Yeah,
just by adding $4.95 shipping, and by adding an upsell. Just by adding like upsells depending on the product that they buy.
Yeah.
So we put time on the front end. It's just like what Hayden talks about, like it's front end loaded, and you have to be focusing on like putting all the time in the front end to try to maximize the money you get from the customer. Because if they're gonna spend $20 on a product, they're gonna be willing to spend extra $5 for shipping.
Yeah, they're already committed if they like the product.
Yeah.
And this is what's huge too, is you can never forget about the back end, like I mentioned earlier. You know, he makes good money on the front end, but you cannot forget about that back end, because he's only looking for the $1 profit, right? Profit on every dollar he spends. But that's before you factor in text message marketing, email marketing, Facebook retargeting, your lookalikes on Facebook. That could probably double it. I mean, you could easily make an extra $1 or $2. So now you're going from, you know, let's say you're spending $1,000 a day to 3,000 revenue, getting 1,000 profit. You can easily go from 1,000 profit a day to 2 or 3. Oh, and this video is too fire. We just exceeded the time limit. Anyways, so you're really able to add in on that back end, and that's why you can't forget about it, because, you know, again, if you're doing that, you know, 1-to-3 ratio, you're making $1,000 a day profit consistently. That's $30,000 a month, but that's before you touch on the other, you know, 1 to 200% that you could add on the back end. So now you're at like 60 to 90,000 a month in profit. That makes a huge difference, because you now have to go take your profit and reinvest that back into influencers.
And that's what I was gonna say, is like it depends on the risk you're willing to take. Like when I ended up getting the payouts after they were locked up, I didn't go out and I wasn't focusing on like, the whole, like, I don't know, I kind of touched on the whole like Instagram thing. Like when you start getting money in this, it can come really fast, and like you'll see, big deposits in your bank, for 10, 20 grand. Like my biggest advice is just like focus on continue making more money. Don't worry about, going to the Gucci store or any of that. Just focus on reinvesting and focusing on like trying to hit your financial goals. And don't be like the influencer, like make money off of the influencer type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like, but yeah, like back to the whole thing is like, try to maximize the money you're making from the traffic that you're spending on. Using one-click upsell, using email marketing, SMS marketing, Facebook retargeting. I was just gonna say this, like if you guys are looking for, like if you guys are looking influencers, and if you have like a potential deal, like I'm not even like pitching anything, like if I don't want you guys like losing a bunch of money like I did, so if you just send me their IG and their analytics, I'll tell you if it's good or not.
I'll leave his Instagram down below. He's not really an Instagram guy, but trying to get him to post some more stuff there.
No, I was just gonna say, because I don't want you guys getting like screwed over on like a couple of grand deal just because you see my results.
It's a lot of front end, like I don't want to say risk, but I mean it's still risky. So even if you're doing $500 and you only have $1,000 budget, that's why it's a big chunk up front. So feel free to run any deals by him, as he just generously offered. Send him a DM with that, but. This is one thing where for me, I know people complain to me. They're like, I have $1,000 budget. I don't want to spend $50 a day on Facebook ads or this and that. Well, influencer marketing is going to be a little bit even more scary. Right? So people complain no matter what, but you just have to get your money right. You have to focus on it. You have to know what you're doing first. So I always tell people, don't spend a single dime on marketing until you know what you're doing. Yeah. Now, the only way to really get that experience is to actually run the shout out, run the Facebook ad. But there's things you can do beforehand to learn. Study, observe, ask questions, watch videos. I mean, I used to attend seminars, buy every course I could afford, like every little possible thing, because I mean, there's stupid mistakes where you remember the people we were initially learning from, way back in the day that screwed us over, that caused me to go broke. If I had just gone and bought one course for $500, I could have saved myself that $4,700 that I spent and lost on Facebook, which was all my money. I mean, me and this kid were going door to door in the snow when it's negative 10 degrees, 20 degrees out in Connecticut. Like, where even is that, first of all? We're just trying to make $100.
Yeah,
we had no money. We're just out here, we're trying to figure it out. No. So like we've gone from zero. Like I was sleeping on the couch because I visited him in Connecticut and we're trying to hustle door to door. I'm sleeping in his friend's dad's basement on the couch with no blanket, trying to, figure out how to make any amount of money. Like we had zero together, like zero. So that's why it's something where you're just always progressing, always pushing. Yeah. And I like what you said about, don't go buy the Gucci, don't go do the dumb stuff. I mean, we both know we waited years to do that.
Yeah.
Years.
Yeah, because like as an entrepreneur, there's no guarantee that you can go and re-get it again.
Yeah.
And so that's why like whenever you get your money, always save it. Don't go and like spend a bunch of money on like just doing dumb stuff. Like it's not bad. I don't know. It's like at the end of the day, focus on like if your business model is like spending on advertising to go and make money, like to spend money to make money. Like just focus on spending the money and just my biggest advice is just it's all about money in, money out. Like there's no really emotional. It's not like a big mindset thing. Like you're gonna put money out and you need more money coming in than money coming out. So when you're starting out, and if you're just starting out, for me, I never got a job because it wasn't for me. But I went and knocked doors like crazy because I didn't want to get a job and I had to make money somehow. So
and you did make some money doing that. Yeah. I mean, he learned it. We were trying to figure it out, and it's scary going up to a door. Yeah. But he did $1 million in sales in 6 months, door to door. Yeah. He did not get $1 million from that. In fact, the company screwed him over. You got what, maybe 10 grand?
Yeah, about that.
But when you're 15, 16, 10 grand in 6 months is a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that allowed him to kind of open the door.
Yeah, just progress. I just associated myself with, more monies, try to sell like higher ticket stuff, and ended up, like when I first started, like I had to spend $3,000 a month for 2 months just for the coaching for my ads team. Whenever we were just starting out, like in Shopify and all that. And if I wouldn't have put in that money, which I wasn't about to, and if I wouldn't have, like it just wouldn't have happened.
You guys were paying to get help with Facebook.
Yeah.
And then they did $3 million in sales. Yeah. Like you gotta, again, back to the thing of don't spend a dime on marketing until you know what you're doing. No. So get that guidance, whatever you have to do. We're all about stacking money. I don't really consider it saving. Just stack it for the purpose of using it down the road for something else.
No.
You know, Dennis knows I'm not a crazy spender when it comes to dumb stuff. I'll buy cars, which I'm not going to lose money on. Actually, Dennis has a little bit of an inside scoop because I've told him some of the deals. But I mean, I'll make money on those.
Yeah.
I will make more money. The money's sitting there. I love cars, might as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just anything you do, just be financially logical. Unless you've got $100 million in the bank or $1 billion and it doesn't matter. I mean, you can, again, there's no guarantee you can re-get more money the same way you got it, and there's no guarantee that whatever you have is going to last forever. $1 million, $2-3 million will not last you your whole life. Like right now, if we let's say someone put $3 million in our bank and we were never able to work again, I mean, we would not have money when we're old.
No.
It wouldn't work. So like, do the math.
What was the other thing I was gonna say? It was like a Honda. If you buy a used Honda Civic, it costs like $5 to $10 grand. You can buy like some of the best influencers in America for like $6 to $7 grand. That's just the way I think about it.
I'll give you one. Tana Mongeau, Jake Paul's girlfriend, wife, whatever, all the BS publicity. She's getting how many story views?
650 to 700K.
$700,000. $7,000 for a shout out on her
We're gonna
story.
book her soon.
For 700,000 views. He's about to run a shout out with her. Like, there's huge influencers, you know, you just gotta look, figure out the pricing, negotiate, work out a deal, and then test it.
It's like the worst. I mean, as long as it's good converting, I mean, you obviously wouldn't start with a girl like that, but if you have a proven product that works with smaller influencers, it's like, you know, it just depends on what your risk level is. But yeah, you know, if you guys are running any like influencer deals and if you want to run them past me, I'll give you my opinion. My Instagram will be in the description, but I hope you guys got value from it.
Yeah,
You
hope
know.
you guys enjoyed it. Appreciate you coming on, brother. Again, I'll leave his Instagram down below. Drop him a follow if you're doing anything with influencers. Feel free to hit him up within reason. Don't blow him up. But if you got like a deal or something to run by him, feel free to reach out. Appreciate you for doing that for him. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe down below. Just a quick update, because this is probably coming in maybe a week or two. I've got a second YouTube channel that is absolutely not focused on production quality at all. It is just paid marketing and e-commerce value. You'll be seeing what I mean by that. I've been setting it up and like stacking some videos. It's super, super fun, very funny as well. But make sure to stay tuned for that. So I appreciate if you guys subscribe to the channel. And with that being said, I'll be seeing you in the next video. Peace.